A very good morning, students. This is class 6 physics video of chapter number 3. Please make sure this is first part of the video and you do check it out, the other part of the same chapter. Chapter 3 is most important, and at the same time, if you will not check out the other part of the videos, chapter 3, trust me, won't be able to understood properly. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to start this chapter. Here is your teacher of physics, Megha Narayan, and kindly start learning with me chapter number 3. The name of the chapter 3 is force. We had to understood what is force. If there are type of force, then what are they? What force do for us and how is it important? There would be many questions, no? Okay, so let's answer it one by one. Can you see this slide? Here in the first slide, a horse is pulling a cart, right? Horse is pulling a cart. And the next one, here, some bunch of people are playing a game, tug of war. In both the examples, both the pictures, something is common. What is it? Answer is force. Here, horse is applying force and pulling this cart. While in this case, both of the sides, both of these particular people are applying force and thus pulling it out. So, therefore, we had to learn this force thing in a detail. The very first point you can see is actually the definition itself. Force is a pull or a push or any action that has ability to change the motion, or you can say having the ability to change the movement. The key word here is action, and force is an action. Force is what? It is an action. It can be a push, pushing a door. It can be a pull, pulling a door to open. Both of them are there, na? Pulling and pushing for door. Any action that provides movement is actually force itself. So here are some of the words via which you can describe the force. Push, pull, stretch, stretching out a rubber band. Squeeze, a rubber ball you are squeezing. Lemon you are squeezing. Catch, twisting something, are the various words that you can basically link with this word of force. Now here also you can see few examples are written, and thus we are moving further with the first point itself, force as a push. I have used here many pictures to summarize the things up totally and make it more interesting. Pushing is just a method of applying force. I pushed someone. I pushed door. These are the basic examples of applying force. Other than these examples, kindly look here. There are various pictures. With them, you can also understand how a force is as a push. Pressing the switch, switching on something involves pressing. That means again pushing. Launching a rocket, kicking a ball. You are pushing a ball, no? So that the ball can move, ball can come into motion. So these are therefore the ways by which you can push something, which means you are applying force. Taking something in these trolleys, no? So pushing it so that this particular trolley can move. Thus, force again applied. Next is you are simply pushing this nail with hammer. You are applying here force. Understood? So this basically is the slide all about force as a push. Here you have pushed, okay, and thus applied force. Pushing wall, pushing someone, pushing a particular switch, pushing trolley, pushing a ball, kicking a ball, knocking a nail, fixing a nail. All these are the examples of applying force. Next is force as a pull. Tug of war just shown you in few, I mean, the last slide also you have seen. Tug of war is basically a game. You might have already played it. In that also you are pulling. So pulling the handle of the door so that it can open. Pulling a huge bow. Okay. And just look here, drawing back a bow. You are having that arrow and a bow and you are pulling it back so that you can just shoot wherever you want to. So in that way, you are pulling that back. Next is raising a flag. Once you want to raise a flag, in that case also you had to pull that particular rope. Pulling a box, already told you. Opening the door by pulling the handle. Okay, so force as a push and this one is force as a pull. In this case also, you are applying force, but the action is bit changed and that is pulling. Now the next one is force as a stretch. As a what? As a stretch. Stretching a rubber band. Stretching a spring are the various examples. Once you did it, you applied pressure. You applied force basically. You applied what? You applied a huge amount of force in stretching that rubber band. You applied force in a lot of quantity, in a very great quantity to stretch that spring. Understood? Now, the same intensity of force you will also apply once you stretch a wire. This is a wire. In order to stretch it out, you had to apply a great intensity of force on it. Understood? So, three we have learned: pull, push, and this is a stretch. Next is squeeze. One more best example. This is the sponge you are having. You squeeze it. Force you are applying. Now in the form of squeeze. Now in the form of squeezing. Once you squeezed it, it get changed, shape got changed. Next is again you are squeezing a spring. You are doing what? Squeezing a spring. Again you left it, it came to the original shape. But in both the ways, you are applying force. Toothpaste tube is there. You used to apply force here. You used to squeeze the tube so that toothpaste can come out from that tube. Next is balloon. You inflated the balloon and you squeezed it. It get deflated. The air inside the balloon get off from it, moved out from it. So in these ways, basically all the ways that you can see on the slide, force is actually applied here and the action is changed to squeeze. So we have learned push, pull, stretch, and squeeze. These are the various things we have learned. Right now, we had to understand what force do for us or force do to objects. It can start motion, it can stop motion, at the same time can speed up, at the same time it can slow down. It can even change the direction and the shape of the motion. No, the direction of the motion and the shape of the object. It can change. Now, if you don't understood, we will be digging in detail with each one of them. Start motion. This particular trolley that you can see right now is at rest. You can start it, the motion. You can let it to move once you applied force here. Understood? Like a particular big box is kept on a floor, you will simply push it and the box may start moving. So that is the best example of starting the motion by applying force. Second thing, stop motion. Ball is coming to you with a great speed. You stop it by catching it. Therefore, this is the another way. The same sort of the example is shown to you on the slide. A man who is simply on the ground and trying to catch this ball, trying to stop this ball. So in that way, it is stopping the motion of this ball itself. One more and the best example, one of the most best example I'm having in this case is if someone throws to you something like a pen, like a paper, like anything, right? You used to do. that in class, at your home. I know that already. So if somebody is throwing you that, you keep on to catch it. You try to stop it. This is the another sort of the application of motion. You can stop the motion of an object by applying force. Understood? We can do two things. The thing which is at rest, any body, any object which is at rest, like this trolley was at rest. Force applied, it will start moving. Which is already moving, apply force and stop it. Next is speed up motion. Best example you can see someone is already sitting here on the swing. Another man from the back is applying the force to speed up the swing. Okay, so in this manner, force can be applied and which can speed up the motion. Next is slow down motion. Car is moving with a great speed. How to slow down? Applying brake. So, therefore, in the same way, force can be applied. Force can be applied on the brake, and brake will allow to stop the motion. Understood? So, in this one, we are learning speed up motion and how to slow down motion. Next, changing the direction of motion. Ball is coming to you. Suppose you hit it with the bat. Direction changed. In this way, you can change the direction of a moving object. And the last one is how to change the shape. You change the shape by squeezing a lemon. Here you can see the best example. Once you squeezed it out, the shape will change. Once you stretch out the spring with a huge force I'm talking, great intensity of force, spring will not come back exactly at the original position. It will not come exactly. It will get back to the position where it was earlier, but not exactly at that position. So in this way, you can change the shape of an object at the same time. Take a particular wire of aluminium or something, no, very small or thin sort of aluminium wire is coming up. Try to make some sort of loop with it and press it. The particular shape will therefore be easily changed, and you can do it by applying force. Now there are two sort of force given in your book: contact, non-contact force. Let's learn it one by one. Contact forces are there which exist when two objects are in direct contact each other. In this way, you can see this particular person is directly contacting, is in direct contact by holding this, right? They are in direct contact with each other by holding this sort of the thread. He is pulling up this cart. Therefore, contact forces are the one in which two objects are in direct contact with each other. They are linked in direct contact with each other. You are pushing someone. So you have basically made a direct contact with him or her. Understood? Look on to the example. There are contact forces that exerts force by touching. Like when I'm pushing her, she will move. So this is a direct, or you can say direct contact, and thus known as contact force. Next example shown here. With a support, a cord is placed, and on that cord at the last a weight is tied. Now this weight is actually in direct contact with this thread, with this cord. So this is a pure example of contact force. Next comes up non-contact force. Kindly note, this is now next sort of force, non-contact force. Non-contact force, simple as that, name is itself telling you the story. No need of direct contact, no need of direct touch. That means they all exert their force without touching, without direct contact. There are three types: magnetic, electrostatic, and gravitational. Let's learn them one by one. Magnetic force. Magnetic force is the force exerted by whom? By magnet on other magnet or on metallic substances like iron, copper, etc. Metallic substances we are talking. Understood? So Magnetic force are the actually sort of the force you can categorize which are exerted by magnet on metallic as well as other magnet substances. No direct contact is there. Only magnetic field is there. Best example, placing few nails nearby magnet. Although there is no direct contact, but still those magnets, no, these magnets, once you move that magnet, make a distance between nails and magnet. Once you move the magnet, nails will also move. Why? Are they in direct contact? No. Then what is the reason? Magnetic force is the reason. Which reason is there? Magnetic force is the reason. Okay, in that, magnetic force is the reason. Understood? Now let's move to the next type, electrical forces. Electrical or electrostatic forces. Both are same. In this case, force exists between charged particles. The force can be attractive, force can be repulsive. The best example you can have is this comb. Comb you are taking, you can try out. This is a very basic example. You can even try out at your home after watching this particular online session. Take out the comb, near it, put small chunks of small pieces of paper. Once you move that comb, no, the paper will be attached, will be attracted to that comb. The answer is electrostatic or electrical force. The force is existing between charged particles. Force can be attractive or it can be repulsive. They may attract each other, they may just put away each other. Okay, they may be repulsive force. Third sort of non-contact force is gravitational force. It is the force which is responsible for pulling other objects. Which objects pull one another? Best example, on Earth we have gravitational force. Which force? Gravitational force, which is responsible for our survival, that keep us intact, that keep us bound to Earth. It also makes Earth and other planets of solar system to move around the sun. Gravitation force is only here. Okay, so that means gravitation force even exists in the entire solar system also. It takes the Earth, it makes the Earth and the other planets to revolve around the sun. Therefore, gravitational force comes into action whenever an apple is falling on the ground. Whenever you are throwing up something, it always rests on the ground. Reason? Gravitation force. There is no contact. Book or the particular apple is not getting attracted, by the ground. Ground saying, "Come to me." No, ground is direct contact with apple. At that time, when you are throwing it, no, but it will rest on the ground. Reason behind this is non-contact force. Reason behind this is gravitational force. So we have learned there are three sort of non-contact forces: magnetic, then comes up electrical or electrostatic, and third one is gravitational force. So that's it. Till here, keep learning properly. Try to read the chapter again and again. If you still have doubts, watch the video and make sure you watch both the parts for proper understanding this chapter itself. Make sure you do it. If you are not going to check out both the videos, trust me, there will be problem for you to understand the chapter. On that note, thank you and keep learning.